In the supercharged atmosphere of a high school gymnasium, the bleachers are teeming with excitement. As parents sit with clenched fists and gritted teeth, game time approaches. It's an electric atmosphere, but that's about to take on a whole new identity. Pretty soon, the fervor of victory will overshadow the essence of the game. Normally reserved parents and fans will lose themselves in the heat of the moment, blurring the line between encouragement and aggression, between civility and hostility. Their voices will rise above the rest, drowning out the spirited encouragement of cheerleaders, the motivational instructions from coaches, and the shrill of the referee's whistle. Everything is now personal to them, and self-control slips away with each tick of the clock. And it's happening everywhere, at all levels, from Pee-wee to high school to college and professional. The collective fan base have lost their collective minds. Now, before I continue, I have to mention that I'm not talking about all parents and fans, because the majority, they're great. They do it the right way. But those who fit the following narrative, well, you know who they are, and hopefully they know who they are. You know, during COVID, we emptied the gyms and parents couldn't watch their children compete. It was the weirdest of environments. And for that entire year, parents were shut out, missing entire seasons of sports. But there was something strange happening in these gymnasiums, something unexpected. The kids were relaxed. They played hard. They listened to their coach. They were having fun. You know, you'd think that once we emerged from COVID, that COVID cocoon, we'd be beyond grateful to attend our kids' games again, that we'd be on our best behavior because we had just been denied access to a part of their lives. Not so much. Once we were allowed back into the venues, all the frustration from being cooped up and watching Tiger King, it all bubbled to the surface. And like unsocialized pandemic toddlers, we acted however the heck we wanted to, almost forgetting that we weren't at home anymore. And this behavior, it hasn't subsided. And the obvious question is why? Why does this continue to happen when we know better? And more importantly, how is this affecting our kids? Well, when examining this topic, you know, we could get all kinds of Freud and do a deep dive into our psyche and come away with trauma that traces back to childhood, such as, well, they had no voice growing up. They had to be loud in a big family. They were neglected and desperate for attention. You know, all of those could play a part in why people are overly loud and obnoxious in the stands. But, you know, I'm not going down that road. In my mind, we're all adults and we should know better, regardless of our upbringing. It's been said that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And we've attached this mantra to our athletes and use it to help them drive through emotional times, to make them a better athlete and a better teammate. But somehow, we overlook that about some of our fans and how much of their character is revealed through sports. You know, studies have actually shown that overzealous fans tend to associate their own self-worth with the performance of their teams, where a bad call is a personal attack and a loss is an individual setback. Their teams become part of their identity. You know, we see this a lot at the professional level, where fans act like sporting events are their own personal playgrounds. You know, how many times have you seen videos of fans fighting at an NFL game or a Major League Baseball game? Heck, some idiot even assaulted Dinger, the Colorado Rockies mascot. And this behavior is seen around the world and absorbed by our kids. You know, what fascinates me is how emotional and negative everyone has become. For a lot of these morons, it's about the 15 minutes of fame, the viral video, and of course, social media perpetuates the practice and then glorifies it. You know, sports provides such an incredible emotional release that's supposed to be positive, but it's gotten to the point where you just pick an enemy and you hate them. And these strong negative emotions that we spew without even a second thought tend to narrow our minds and cut off our peripheral vision to the point that for the duration of the game, we exist in an emotional vacuum, completely oblivious to anyone around us. And if we don't learn to control ourselves, we will end up making a permanent decision based on a temporary emotion. Your mood should never dictate your manners. And no matter how many times this behavior repeats itself, whether at professional stadiums or high school gymnasiums or little league ballparks, we are left shaking our heads. What kind of people do this? Well, for one, the loud and overly obnoxious people are generally the unhappiest people in the arena. Psychologists say that they are the type of people who lack confidence and hide behind this boisterous exterior because they think it makes them appear self-assured, when in reality, they are just seeking validation and attention. Well, then you have the Al Bundy syndrome. And if you remember Al, he was an all-city player back in the day. And for some reason, that gives him the right to be the expert on everything. And he screams it from on top of the mountain for all to hear. He's also the guy living vicariously through his kid. He's also the guy you can't get to shut up. And he's also the guy that makes you realize that it takes a village to control the village idiot. And then you have the mob mentality. You know, we've seen it with riots in our streets where one bad idea is adopted by one person and then another and then another. And you know what's always baffled me about this is the post-championship rioting. Hey, we just won the world championship. Let's burn this place to the ground. So dumb. And in the stands, negative sports fans can be kind of the same way. One abhorrent fan starts bellowing their frustrations, and then someone else chimes in, and then another, and then the whole thing just spirals into a tornado of personal attacks, vicious insults, and inexplicable behavior. And we've seen it everywhere. You know, that moment in time between what we see and when we react, that moment is so important because we get to choose what happens next. But for too many of us, that moment is fleeting and the space almost non-existent. Our emotions are no longer subordinate to our logic. In short, I think we lack emotional intelligence. Couple that with broken filters, zero patience, and a reactionary mindset, and it's a powder keg of embarrassment. And our kids deserve better. And as they grow, exposed to this childish and asinine behavior, one of two things tends to happen. One, they continue to play sports, but turn into the aggressive bully that was modeled for them. Or two, they stop playing altogether. You see, kids stop participating for a number of reasons, but losing enjoyment is near the top. And I've seen it through the years. So many kids that have had the fun sucked out of their sport because their parents act like buffoons. They end up seeing these kids as entertainment and their livelihood and stop seeing them as people, as kids. Now, I'm not saying sit on your hands and be silent at these events. Go crazy, be loud, be supportive, be positive. We want to look at our fan base and see them having fun, not negative lunatics who are one bad call away from a heart attack. You know, sure, we all get upset at games and we get frustrated and sometimes we let things slip. But those negative emotions need to be stepping stones, not campgrounds. We are better than that. You know, during September of 2017, South Carolina youth soccer tried something. It was called Silent September, where parents and visitors could not make a sound. Silence meant silence. There was no yelling, no clapping, no making noise of any kind at all while the ball was in play. Violators would be removed. The exercise was to start a conversation and raise awareness of unsporting behavior. It worked. The atmosphere was much like the COVID gyms I talked about earlier. Look, I know that this is a negative topic, but I feel like it's something that has to be addressed. Again, like I said earlier, the majority of our parents and fans are amazing and they get it. But it's that growing percentage who treat youth sports as a rage outlet, and they are undoubtedly scarring our kids in the process. And for me, when it comes to our kids, our most precious asset, let us never forget the profound responsibility that we have. The eyes of our children are always upon us, watching, learning, imitating. They don't see words, they see actions. For we are not just their parents, we are their teachers, their mentors, their heroes. And under the bright lights of competition, our actions and attitudes are more than just expressions of support for our children. They are powerful lessons in sportsmanship, respect, and character. Through our actions, our kids aren't just learning about the game, they are learning how to live life. They're watching us. The way we handle victory and defeat and the respect that we show, the encouragement that we offer, these are the lessons we should be giving them. In closing, our greatest legacy as parents won't be what we accomplished, but rather it lies in the assurance that we have ignited a spark of goodness, compassion, and strength in the hearts of our children. So be the examples they deserve and teach them through your actions that passion and emotion can be positive. And in doing so, we leave them a world that's brighter, kinder, and full of hope. And those are Scott's thoughts.